Good evening, keeps up the cash. Gary B, the casual comic guy here, and I am joined tonight with my co-host Marcus, Circumstances himself. How you doing tonight, Marcus?
Good to be here. I'm really excited that my comic book dad is out in the community. I'm excited for y'all to meet him. What's up?
He is fresh, brand new meds. He's ready to go. Yeah. Our guest of honor tonight, guys, is of course he's gone by a couple different names on his YouTube channel. First, it was Alternative City Comics. Now it's Indie Comics and Review. And Lorenzo, as I like to do on this show, first, thank you for agreeing to come on and spending some time with us. But also, for those catching on the rewind who may not know you and are finding you out for the first time, give a little synopsis of who you are and what your channel's about.
Oh, thanks for asking me, Jerry. Oh, Jerry. Gary, I'm sorry. It's a different show. Thanks, Gary. My name's Lorenzo, and I'm just a regular guy that collects comics. I like to draw comics, too. Like you said, the first name I used on my channel was Alternative City Comics. I was kind of featuring, I guess, I was kind of trying to blend my love of drawing comics along with my love of collecting comics. And I soon realized that those are two very different things, and it's best to have a separate channel for each one. So once the collecting kind of took on a life of its own, then I just changed the name to Indie Comics and Reviews, which I was surprised was still open, because I thought that would be a pretty basic name for anyone who liked indie comics and liked to review them.
And yeah, sure, effective, but also in the description of your channel, you used to be a Silver Age Marvelite collector. What was your Marvel jam back in the day, and do you still read any of those characters currently?
Wow. Yeah, my first Marvel jam, I guess, would be probably the first Marvel book I ever read was Fantastic Four number 40. That's way back in the day. I remember buying it off the rack in some doctor's pediatrician's office when I was a kid. That's how long ago that was. And I was blown away by the fact that it was not only the FF, but Daredevil was in there, Doctor Doom was in there. There was like a big fight between the Thing and Doctor Doom, and I was just hooked on Marvel stuff after that. Then I evolved into Spider-Man, which when I first read my first Spider-Man, like, oh, this guy is great too. So I became a Spidey fan for years. The John Romita Spider-Man was my favorite. Of course,
senior or junior? I'm assuming senior.
Senior for sure, yeah.
Junior was good before he went blocky. Not that he's not good now. I just don't care for the blocky art style.
Yeah. He found his own way, but his way is not the way that a lot of people like. So there's that, And then I guess Captain America. If I had to name my favorite Marvel characters, even now I still love Cap books because he's just a man out of his time. I think that's such a cool concept. And I don't read Spidey as much. I do love the Silver Age Spidey. I love all the Silver and Bronze Age stuff. But I'm mostly now into indie books, and I still treasure all those old books.
Now, we'll get to the books again in a second, but one of my favorite things to ask on this show, because we all had our favorites, is what kind of cartoons was little Lorenzo sitting in front of the TV to watch?
Oh, my God. Ooh, man, that's a good one. I can remember probably Astral Boy.
The
Japanese version. I knew nothing about where that came from, except that it came on like really early Sunday mornings. And when we were like, before we go to church, like maybe 7 o'clock in the morning, on UHF TV. And I thought, this is so cool. This black and white robot with the funny overdub voices. I thought that was one of the coolest things. My first cartoon I remember watching and really loving.
And that's a good one. That's not an answer that you hear a lot, but Astral Boy is one of those classics. And I thought the updated movie they did, probably 8 years ago now, was a charming movie. I thought that was a lot of fun.
Yeah, that was cool.
Yeah. Nice. So now the Silver Age, I'm going to assume, is your favorite age of comics then. That's the one you connect with the most?
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah,
I
that's
see
when I
you're
was a kid. I guess that's when I was growing up and first discovered the medium as much. Was during the Silver Age.
now, has comics always stayed with you, or have you taken breaks from comics throughout your life?
I have actually through different phases of my life. I've gotten away from comics and gotten back into comics. Same with the drawing as well as the collecting. It's been quite a journey, both ways, but I always keep coming back. Um, when I'm away, I miss it, and then when I get back into it, I'm like, oh my God, how did I get away from this? Where have I been? It's just like I'm back home.
And you're an indie comic lover now. You do
Mhm.
indie comic reviews on your channel, but when it comes to indie comics, it's more than just the reading of them. You're also a self-published author. You have your own stuff out there, which anyone watching, the link to his web shop, Alternative City,
Get you a shirt. Get
right?
you one of
Get
these
you a book.
shirts.
$4 for Life in the Big City, guys. Great art. I can't wait to read my copy when it arrives. But so alternative comics are also a more intimate part of your life being a self-publisher. So you're kind of on both spectrums of it. Now, do you find the stories that indie comics are telling a bit more personal than what the big ones are publishing themselves?
That's very accurate. The big ones, the big two, they still have the legacy characters that we all know and from our childhood and we all love. Um, but the indies, to me, they're less afraid. They don't have the licensing deals that they have to worry about losing in case they do something controversial. So they can just kind of just cut loose, and there's more opportunity for freedom with those stories and with those characters.
More room to take chances. Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, none of us can pronounce that now.
Yeah, Namen is pretty cool.
It looks awesome though, Namen.
Yeah. I get
That's
a shirt
cool.
with that on it.
That's dope.
So now, did comics lead you to self-publishing, or was self-publishing and doing your own comic strip something that you had always thought about doing?
Yeah, I mean, comics, I guess, comics led me to drawing, and because when I was a kid, I wasn't allowed to go out and like play with the other kids. Like I was kind of like super sheltered. So I would, when I had a chance, I would buy a comic. But they were only 12 cents, but they seemed like so unattainable. It was like 12 cents was a big deal back then. You could get
It's a
like
lot more money back then.
it was, man. I remember in kindergarten, you could get like a chocolate milk and 4 cookies for a dime. That's how old I am.
Wow.
So 12 cents was a big deal. But just
You
when
can't
I
even get
couldn't,
a chocolate chip just by itself for a dime now.
yeah, no, you can't. You cannot. Uh, so I just when I didn't have a comic book, I would watch cartoons or I would just draw just to amuse myself. I would draw comics based on the books and the cartoons and the books that I saw, and eventually I started creating my own characters, and I got a little bit better at it, and from time to time, and so I guess as I got to be an adult and didn't get a chance to go to art school. That's a long story there, but I really wanted to. I eventually dropped out of art school as an adult, but I didn't. I'm an art.
That's the thing to do, isn't it?
Yeah,
You
I
found
was.
a thing called schoolism though that you really dug, right?
Yes, I do. I love schoolism because I still use it. It's like nowadays you don't really need a degree as much as you need skill and a portfolio. So if people who are working jobs like I did, like multiple jobs and odd things, trying to go to school part time, you can take schoolism courses at your own leisure, and you can improve your skills, and that way you can improve your portfolio and increase your chances of working in the industry.
So I'm curious. You said your first comic was Fantastic Four in the doctor's shop. Were you already drawing at that point, or was it something that inspired you to draw? How did that process work for you?
I think at that time I was probably, what was it? I was probably super young. I was probably just doodling at the time, and had no idea that this could actually be a thing. Other some group of other magical people made these comic books, and I could never be one of those people. So I the time I wasn't drawing, but it kind of got me inspired to do it. That's probably one of the books that got me really hooked on comics, and started to have gave me an interest in enjoying myself. So yeah,
So how soon after that first comic book were you like, all right, I am an artist, I am a drawer? Was it immediate? Was it years? How long
it
was
was
that
years.
process?
It was
Yeah.
years. It was like a progression, like because I probably got that FF when I was maybe like in first grade, and probably about maybe around fifth grade. Me and some of the guys in my class, we started like making our own comics out of typing paper and stuff like that. It was like, I remember we used to like raid the cabinets, like it was like a big deal. We would like wait until lunchtime because we know about sketchbooks and that kind of stuff. It was
Right.
the Stone Age, so,
Use what was available.
yeah. So yeah, we should drawing on line notebook paper. We get some typing this stuff. There's no lines on it. We can just make books out of it, and we just make our own books, and it'd be one copy and pass it around the room. And that's probably where that started, like in the 5th or 6th grade.
Right. So at least you had some friends at that time that had a lot of similar interests too. Which
Yeah.
is good.
Yeah.
Do
Well, there
you
were
still
no
talk to
video
any of
games
them
back
by
then.
chance? I know it was
Was
a
that?
long time ago.
Was
I know
that?
it was a long time ago. Do you still talk to any of those guys that were in the comics with
I
you?
lost track. I think because a lot of them, some of them got interested in sports and stuff like that. Because they lost interest in
Women.
drawing. Yeah, So unfortunately, no.
That's okay. So when growing up, obviously the first thing that draws you to comics is the art. But what are some of the stories that kept you in the medium? Can you tell us a few of your favorite highlighted stories along the way? It's obviously going to be different from different eras, but what are some of the ones that you like to revisit?
I remember in the silver and bronze. I missed a lot of the Bronze Age. I don't know what was. I think I was.
Oh, that's my favorite age.
Yeah, and I'm just, I'm discovering a lot of stuff from the Bronze Age that I completely missed. I thought, this is awesome. How did I not see this, when I was coming up? So I was in the Silver Age. I remember a lot of that, but I missed a lot of the Bronze Age. Um, but I guess the stories I remember, because a lot of the Silver Age was, there was not a lot of there was some continued stories, but it was mostly, most books were wrapped up in an issue or two. So they're not really long storylines. I remember the first one that really blew me away, I guess, was nowadays you look back at it, it's kind of like it wasn't all that great because it was just like a commercial.
That's how it usually is. Yeah.
Yeah. The Secret Wars. The Secret Wars was
Yep.
like my first big crossover. Like, whoa, okay, it's 12 issues long, and they're on a different planet, and new costumes are coming out and everything. So that's probably the first.
It's funny you would
relevant.
say that because I have the trade of Secret Wars, right? And I
Mhm.
read that when I was a kid too. Just blew me away. I loved it, and then I reread it a couple years ago. I was like, time hasn't been good to this one.
For me, for me,
didn't.
it was Rob Liefeld's Prophet. Rob Liefeld's Prophet was my favorite as a kid, and when I look at it now, I'm like, I don't know why this was my favorite.
Oh goodness! Now, did you notice if it happened at all a shift in how you liked books from being an artist? You always liked the visual medium of them, but when did
Mhm.
storytelling start to become as important a part of the comic as the art to you?
Probably after as I got older as an adult, kind of a young adult, and I discovered stuff like I think Watchmen. That may have been one of the ones that I first got into. That was like not indie, because there was no indie per se back in that day, and the indies didn't really come into being a thing until I want to say maybe the 90s or later, even. But Watchmen being it's a superhero book, but it's more like an adult superhero book. I thought this
Right.
is
Yeah.
pretty cool. Yeah, so this is I thought Alan Moore's interpretation of the superhero genre there was kind of a game changing that. And I guess I would say V for Vendetta. That was another one that really got me into the story. And the Dark Knight, the original Frank Miller Dark Knight, the first series.
Yeah.
So and that actually, I've been away from comics for a while. I think may have been in art school when that happened. And this is for me right here. This is more adult oriented, and it's dark, and Batman's an old man, and it's something you haven't seen before.
Yeah, something along those lines in that era. What I really loved and was Camelot 3000, and people just don't know that book anymore. That was a 12-issue maxi series from DC with the Arthurian legend in the future, and it's all them reincarnated. And there's a whole plot and storyline. It was fantastic. I've reread it a few times. I still enjoy it, even though there's a few parts where you're like, oh, wow, they got away with that, I guess. Yeah, because you know how it is.
Mm-hmm.
But definitely a product of its time. Still a super fun read. But let's get into a little bit of we all have our guilty pleasure reads. The things we read, it doesn't mean they're good. It doesn't mean they're bad. Just means for whatever reason, we really get a kick out of it. What is a Lorenzo guilty pleasure read?
Oh, there's so many of them, especially now with all the indies. I'm sure Marcus knows some of them have been this harping on.
Any behemoth book, it seems.
A lot of behemoth books for sure. Monkey Meat is one of my favorite guilty pleasure. That's no one's probably read that much with Junie Ba's art. Until my knuckles bleed, stuff like that.
Duel is another one. Yeah.
Duel. Hey, Duel is something I think is going to be a thing, but
is it a guilty pleasure if it's written well, though? Like a guilty pleasure is something isn't great, but you still love it anyway.
Oh God, that's a good question, Gary. Man,
any behemoth book.
Any behemoth. He just hates behemoth. He hates behemoth books.
I'm there with you, Marcus. You're not alone, buddy.
It's an acquired taste for sure.
Like for me, obviously, it's Red Sonja with Dynamite. There's a few good stories, but it's a character I fell in love with in the old Marvel Bronze Age with Roy Thomas writing it, and just all the incredible artists that were on it, and now they just water the character down so much, but I still read it because it's still Red Sonja, and it's the only thing I can get.
Yeah.
So, and sometimes I'm surprised by a really good story, but more often than not, I'm like, wow, I got it.
It's in the PC.
Yeah.
Right, so let's take a step into your personal life here. We're going to talk about your self-published book. Tell us about the creation of Life in the Big City, how it pertained to you as a person. The characters Marcus and Veneta. Give us a little bit about them, and how you ended up being published in a paper.
Wow, that's a good one too. Life in the Big City is probably the one that's closest to my heart, even though there's some I like to draw more. But yeah, Life in the Big City, the story behind that was it's just kind of loosely based on some people I knew myself, and I changed the names and I added the other characters. It started out just as me trying to get a newspaper strip, trying to get published in the paper, and I just I had this idea for this family of this guy who just worked a normal job, or just like a dead end job. Like I had many of those during my life earlier and later even, and his friends and their struggles and so forth. And so I turned that into a strip, and I took it to a local in Chicago, like a local neighborhood newspaper. I think it was the Hyde Park Citizen. It was like this neighborhood paper that had, like, they would leave it laying around, in supermarkets, and nobody would pick them up except maybe like use them to, pack their furniture or something with. And nobody really reads the book, but reads the paper. But the editor she was very cool, and she helped me learn how to use paste up and stuff like that to get my titles done, and use the Xerox machine to enlarge and to do stuff like that. So and
Xerox.
Yeah, I know, right? It's just like it's a copy machine. There's no branding, but back then we all called it Xerox. And she said, "Yeah, we like to have it." I was like, "You would?" So like, yeah, and I would just bring them in. Like first, I had because they like to have like a few weeks worth. Ideally, most syndicates do, and ideally, most newspapers like to have like just in case something happens to you, they're not left without a space in the paper. So I had a few weeks worth, but I would just bring them in like maybe every two comics a week, just to be like a week ahead. And I feel like I was kind of like Peter Parker bringing in stuff to the Daily Bugle. And it's like, yeah, here's this week's. I'm just in time for the deadline. Eventually, it got into another paper. Yeah, it was fun. It was like I didn't get any compensation for it, but just the fact that that's my comic strip in the paper, that was good enough for me.
Right, people were getting eyes on it and reading what you wrote. And seeing what you drew.
Yeah.
How old were you when you did this? How old were you when you did this?
Oh gosh, I was probably in my 30s. Yeah, in my mid to late 30s.
Nice. Now, how big and good of a feeling was it when you accomplished that? And it doesn't matter that it's a small paper.
Yeah.
Your strip was published. People were reading it. Someone wanted it. That's all you want when you're making something.
Absolutely. Yeah, it was a big deal. And I would tell all my friends about it, and like, hey, I'm in the paper. I'm in this paper. And then I got picked up by another paper that was like even bigger. It was like a paper that was sold by houseless people in Chicago, and so a lot of people would buy that paper. It was at a much larger circulation, and that's when it. I think I was really in my prime with life in the big city at that time, because I was kind of just fooling around with little gag strips in the neighborhood paper. But then once I got into the bigger paper, I did the storyline that I use in the book that you're talking about, in Life in the Big City book that I have on my website. That's some of my favorite strips from that era. Is that, and that's what's kind of like a conspiracy theory thing going on. I got a little bit more political, and it was a little bit too much. We had to part ways with the newspaper because I was getting a little bit too political, I guess, for them. So we had to say our farewells, and I saw greener pastures.
Nice. Well, can you tell, because we all grew up with newspapers, and most people don't now. They haven't read them. But, you had your news, but going to the funnies, as you called it when you were younger, was always a highlight, right? You're reading your Grimm, your Hagar the Horrible, your Dennis, your
Marmaduke.
Yeah, Calvin and Hobbes, Heathcliff, and even Beetle Bailey was a favorite, right?
Oh, for sure.
And
for sure.
But reading those, that's a talent. Because did you do it in 3 frames like most strips, or did you have more frames to use? Because I can't imagine just writing something in 3 frames that's published and people got to get it, and it's got to be entertaining, and it's got to bring them back the next day.
Yeah, that is probably one of the hard, other than probably stand-up comedy, that's probably one of the hardest things in the world to do, because you got to get that 3-frame gag going. I would cheat. I would use 4 frames a lot of times. That was early in the strip's life. Eventually, when I evolved into the weekly paper that I was in before I just we broke ties, it became like the alternative strips. They have like maybe two strips, like maybe an upper and a lower strip, and it's all tied in. So I would make it more of a longer, a bit of a thing, more of a continued story, more so than a gag. The gag writing is really hard. That I mean, and my heart goes out to folks who have to come up with a gag, like 7 days a week for 6 weeks. you know, and not suck. You know, so
It's
people
like
expect
coming
me.
up with memes. It's like coming up
Yeah,
with memes. It's hard.
it
It's not easy.
is. It is, man. So it's you know, I just I'd rather tell the story rather than try to get the gag. That's a little bit, I always leave them hanging a little bit at the end of the strip, so that way it's a little bit easier for me rather than gag writing, which is another whole skill in itself.
Right. It just always struck me as a very difficult skill set to
Mhm.
possess and hone because, hey, anything short form is difficult. People don't
Yes.
realize it. It's easy to go on sometimes. It's difficult to be short.
Yes.
And good at the same
Yeah,
time.
and get a point across and make something coherent that leads an audience to the next thing. Now, with that though, why a comic strip when you were turning to art? Why not a comic book? What got you into strips, and what comic strips were you reading that influenced you?
I guess initially with the strip because I thought it'd be the quickest entry into getting published. Uh, Back then, not like now where you can like, you know, you can publish like that. Uh, Back then it was like you had to have a huge print run and a lot of upfront money to self-publish your own book. And not even
Yeah.
talking about being picked up by some publisher who's going to do it for you. That's like, you know, trying out for Hollywood or something. So I figured a comic strip would be uh my best vehicle to get my work out there somehow. If I get some newspaper to put me in there or something like that. So that's and the strip that probably inspired me were more like the weekly strips like Life in Hell by Matt Groening and all the stuff that were in like the I don't know if the Reader is still a thing, the weekly Reader. There was like a Chicago Reader, and there's other like indie newspapers that come out weekly. I guess a lot of indie newspapers always come out weekly, so I like that because only one strip a week rather than like 7 a week. That
Right.
helped. So I liked those are my favorite. I like the underground guys like Robert Crumb. Um, this lady that does it. I can't remember her name, but she was in the same Zippy. Zippy was one of the strips that was like in the indie books. Um, yeah, this just yeah. I just thought that was easier access, and I was inspired by those indie creators.
Nice. And the characters, just from watching the video of yours, seem like really well grounded characters. They seem super engaging, and I'm sure Marcus is a big fan because the main character's name is Marcus.
Yeah,
Yeah,
of
yeah,
course. Can't go wrong with that
that's
name. And I'm a
cool.
big fan of Lorenzo though. I do like his art style, and I love his channel. You know, I am on with him every Wednesday night, but I started off as just a huge fan watching him every week and really enjoying his stuff. He reviews independent comic books, and I just love the music and the way that he blends and the way that he edits it. People talk about my editing on my videos, but a lot of my inspiration came from checking out his videos that he would release. They're really good. So if you haven't checked them out, definitely give my man a look. It's good stuff.
And not just the one channel. He's got two channels, guys. Check out also the Alternative City channel as well, which the link to all of his stuff, I kid you not, is in the description. You can buy his merchandise. You can buy his comic strip. You can watch him talk with Marcus on his channel or talk by himself when Marcus is in timeout. And but let's lead into that a little bit too, because I was always curious how you guys ended up doing a show together. Because one of my favorite things about what we do here is how the community grows together and ends up being one big part. So how did you end up adopting Marcus over on your channel?
I begged him basically. The way the comic book dad thing started is I asked him straight up. I said, I really love your channel. I really like what you're doing here. I don't really
Yep.
have a dad. Will you be my dad? And he was like, sure, son. And then it just went from there. So It started off as just me watching every single one of his videos and just really being involved in his channel and just really enjoying it. It was last year was the beginning of jumping back into comic books. So the enthusiasm was extremely high for me. And me and Scotty Vaughn, his other comic book son, we would talk about it and we became friends, and then we both love Lorenzo. So it just morphed that way over time. And then finally, at the beginning of this year, I was like, Lorenzo, I would love to jump on with you on your new comic book day and just shoot the shit with you. And it took him a long time to respond because he ignores me on Instagram. But when he finally did,
I just said it took a while for the check to get to him.
That too. But when he finally did respond, we set it up, and yeah, we've been doing it ever since. And I look forward to it every week, man. It's a good time. We've got a nice little community that joins us, so I really enjoy it.
That's the thing. I mean, to me, it started off with me just basically doing I would do my, I guess the main thing I did on this channel at first was just the reviews. And then I started I watch other people do comic book hauls of the books that they bought. I was like, oh, that's cool. I watching other folks. Maybe I'll do that too. And then I did the Wednesday haul of books from the LCS. And rather than just do an edited video, I started just doing streams. And Marcus would and we already corresponded and he would say like, hey, Dad, can I jump on? Like, yeah, that'd be great. And it's been so great since. I mean, I can imagine before Marcus and after Marcus, there's a world of difference, So I'm grateful to my comic son for jumping on and just making the stream what it is. And it's the thing I look forward to. I don't even care about the comic books anymore. It's like just the community that shows up for that Wednesday stream. It's just I just never imagined that it was such a thing.
Yeah, he's got a great crew, and it's a lot of fun, man.
He does. And also, I don't know about you, Lorenzo, but I didn't do live streaming for a while. For some reason, I was completely intimidated by it. And now I don't even think about it. I'll be like, "Ooh, I got a tic-tac, time to go live."
Yeah, same. Yeah.
Now going live is just something you do it, you conquer it, and then you're done with it, right? And but were you intimidated about going live at first?
Oh my God!
All of his stuff was recorded. In the beginning, he was all recorded. Yeah, everything was recorded.
Yeah. I mean, with editing, you have a little bit of a buffer, before you go out there, but you're working without a net when you're going live. And whatever you do, you hope you don't make an idiot of yourself. So you just hope that it turns out okay. But people are so kind and forgiving that after a while, I thought, well, even if I do, look a little, uncomfortable, they make me feel more at ease as this show goes on. And I still get, a little, I guess they say, even pro athletes say, like before a big game, they get butterflies. If you don't feel the butterflies, and you're not loving the game or whatever. I get a little bit, but that passes so quickly. And as soon as we say, let's go. And it's like, oh, it just flows after that, so it's really, it's just like, I could imagine not doing the live stream Wednesday now. I just, doing a recorded video.
It's my favorite part of YouTube. In the beginning, I watched a lot of recorded stuff, but now, and I'm sorry everybody, but I don't watch nearly as much recorded stuff. It's a lot about the hangout with the live and getting to be around other comic book friends, because my friends don't give a shit about comic books. So that's why I need you guys.
Yeah, I feel you, son. Yes, exactly the same way. Yeah.
And Marcus has definitely become a positive part of a lot of different communities. You and I both know Marcus is a great guy, but when I ask Marcus to co-host all the time now, he's just one of my go-tos. I love his company. I love having him on the channel. I know it's the same for you. You know what you're going to get with Marcus. You're going to get some knowledge. You're going to get a nice guy, and you're getting somebody that's not going to beat anyone down. And and it's fun. He's fun to hang out with. And I was super excited to reach out to you and get Marcus here because to bring the dynamic onto this channel as well, right? And also, to send a few friendly jabs Marcus's way, because that's what do.
Yeah, good times. Good times.
Right?
Sure. That's what friends are for.
Right. So but we're gonna get back into alternative comics here. And myself, I don't really consider Image indie comics anymore.
They are. They are.
Yeah, but I
They are
don't really
very
consider
much
they're
indie
big. They're
comics.
pretty big now, and
But indie's not about the size, though. It's about the
Right.
setup, right?
True, and they
But
do give a lot. It's a lot of artists that and talent that wouldn't be anywhere else for sure, being able to tell their
Mm-hmm.
own story. But what are some of the strengths you see in the indie comics field now, as opposed to when it first started? Why do you think it's thriving as much as it is?
I think a lot of that may be due to Image. I know Image, like you say, it's so big that it doesn't seem like it's an indie publisher, but I think it set the model. It set the model that a lot of other publishers are following now.
creator owned.
Yeah, create their own work
Yeah,
and
you can get out there and do it.
yeah, that's what it is. And I think that once these other publishers saw, well, Image is doing it, and look how big they are. And then you got people like Boom Studios and Dark Horse has always been around, like Fantagraphics. They're like old school. Then you got newer ones like Vault and what's the one? The
Scout.
Scout, yeah, Scout's
I
huge.
love Scout.
Yeah. So I think that's the difference right there. I mean, even though Image has tons and tons of books out there, and they're huge now, their outlook as far as like, hey, you can do whatever you want here. You can print your stories. You can, whenever you're ready to go, nice knowing you, take your property with you. I think that's one of the coolest things about Image, and I think they've been an inspiration to the rest of the indie comics, the alternative comic world as well.
And I think that's what makes them indie, is that they're creator owned. You can take your art, your stuff that you created, and leave with it, unlike with Marvel and DC where it's theirs. So I think that's what makes it indie.
Yeah, I mean, you can play with their toys at Marvel and DC, but you got to leave the toys there when you go.
Well, and you see that too. Like some of the names that go make Image books are people that got to play with the franchise characters and make a name for themselves, and now they know they'll get a following when they go do their own thing. And then on the flip side, indie comics are how some people just get their name out there to begin with, to get noticed by other companies.
Exactly.
It's like, look, I have the skills. I have the team. We have the talent. Here we are. Don't ignore us. Look what we got to offer. Now, with saying that, there's been a few. Let me say hi to Jerry. Good evening, Jerry. Happy to see you here, bud.
There he is.
Few, stories that have really spoke to me in the last couple of years. And I'm a big horror guy. I don't know if you are. But anyway, some of the bigger stories that have come out of indie comics in the last few years, like Eve, like Midnight Western Theater, like Noctera, like Atlantis Wasn't Built for Taurus, It Eats What Feeds It, Spy Island, Silver Coin. Those are stories that stay with me. They all have something different to offer. They all approach their narrative in a different way. They all have different, unique characters, but they're all stories that you wouldn't see anywhere else. And they're all strong stories, even if they're like Silver Coin. If it's a issue by issue anthology, it's still something fun. But those are some of the ones I think were strong out of the gate. What are some of the ones that you've thought have really risen above the other crowd in the glut of indie books that we have nowadays?
Well, in that same vein of the anthology book, and a lot of these books are Image, I'm trying to think of some that aren't, is Ice Cream Man. Ice Cream Man is the ongoing anthology book that doesn't keep some character that reader, but it's all standalone.
We're losing him.
I think it was called The Damned Band, or That Damn Band, or something like that. I think That Damn Band. It was a Dark Horse 5-issue limited series, and it was kind of like, it was so much based on Led Zeppelin, and you can see a lot of Led Zeppelin references, like satanic symbolism and all this stuff. But that was a really good series. I think a lot of people missed. That's just off the top of my head. I can remember that one from a few years ago after I got back into comics this time. That's one of the books I remember being impressed by, I should say. Most recently.
Carmen was another one, I think, and then
Carmen, yeah, Carmen was my favorite book of the year last year. That was Guillaume March, who did the Joker, and he did work on Batman too. I'm sure. Yeah,
he was the art on Joker. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And Layla Starr was another one. I know
Layla Starr with Ram V. Yeah. That's another good one. And the Me You Love in the Dark. All these Image books.
Oh, no. I thought you said.
You're thinking about. I know you're thinking about the last book
you promised me darkness. Oh, you promised me darkness.
Well, you promised me darkness too. That's a Behemoth book, but you don't like me. Yeah. So yeah, Carmen. Yes. They Gore Vidal. Yeah, Carmen was awesome. I loved it. It wasn't really. It was kind of horror, but it was more supernatural, I think, than horror, because it wound up with a very sweet ending. Carmen did.
I really liked that book. The art was great in it, and I have a special place for Carmen because it's near the beginning of my return to comic books. So there's that nostalgic kind of attachment I have to it. So yeah, I love that one too.
Yep.
Uh-oh, you're muted.
How's that? There we go.
There he is.
The guy. I thought it was my fault.
I had a loud motorcycle go by, so I hit it and I forgot to turn it back on. I didn't want the outside noise to drown you out. But
it's nice having somebody else turn the knobs. I'm used to keeping my eye on everything. I'm not used to. Oh my God, did I do this right? Did I do that right? It's like it's a little more relaxing now to just answer the questions.
Well, that's the thing too. Like when you start YouTube, there's a little learning curve, right? I mean, we all hate going back and looking at our first videos. You're like,
nope, not
gonna
do it. Right, not gonna do it.
But what I haven't learned from you yet is what brought you to YouTube. So I'm kind of curious where your YouTube journey began
and how long ago. Yeah, I like that.
The exact date that I started the first day I started the channel, not my personal channel, but I used to do stuff on my personal channel with my name on it, when I was working at the UPS store before I retired, and it was a thing called Art or Shit. I don't know if I can swear on your channel, I'm not sure, but it was and we would because we packed art for these different these galleries in Chicago, and I was like, this is just shit. And then one of the guys said, you should do a show called Art or Shit. And so I first started my YouTube journey just doing those, and those that talk about hard to watch now. Oh, those were I didn't know anything about editing. I just went on and on and on. But just another thing, this sucks. I just but as far as doing the comic book YouTube journey, that probably began probably maybe shortly after we moved to Washington State. That's probably, I would say, 2017 when I first started the channel. And I would just do and I wasn't at the time because I just had to get rid of a bunch of my books, and I wasn't subscribed to any LCSs, and I wasn't buying new books, but I saved a key core of books. And I would go through some of the old ones, and I was like, I should do a review of this book. I like this book. Nobody ever heard. The first book may have been Incognito or something like that. I had that in my collection. And
great title.
And the next one was probably all Negro comics from the 50s or something like that. And I had those books in my collection. And Rassle by Jeff Smith. I had those books already in my collection. I was just going to do these books that I reviewed. Nobody's reading them now, but I think they deserve a little shine. So I thought maybe I'll just do only independent comic book reviews. And that's what I just started off just doing a few. I did maybe 3 or 4 of them. And hey, there's Willie. What's up, bro?
Willie surviving the hizzy.
I did a few of them, kind of got away from it because life happened, And then pandemic happened. And a lot of us just were indoors. And I thought, well, I should look back at that YouTube channel thing and just start doing, doing those reviews. And that's just got back into it and started doing more and more reviews. Eventually, the unboxings and the haul videos followed. But the genesis of it all was mostly the reviews, because I just thought that, I love indie comics. I love to read indie comics. I occasionally like to make indie comics. I just want to make those the star of the channel, because there's a lot of people already, giving, shine to the big two. So I figured, I let them do what they do, and I'll just focus on my little thing here, my little niche within a niche, and do that. So I think that's what brought me to YouTube, just the love of indie comics, and wanted to share that love with other people.
Hey, thank God for the pandemic. Am I right?
Yeah, I know, right? It brought us all together.
We're always talking about it in the comic community, right? Because so many of us started our channels because of it and during it, and
yeah, I didn't start mine. I didn't start because of the pandemic, but I definitely started during. With everyone else.
It was almost like the blip. The blip happened, and everybody just
right.
Before the blip, after the blip.
Thanos snapped his fingers, and there was twice as many comic book channels out there.
We're all YouTubers now, which I cannot believe I'm a YouTuber. I still can't believe it.
Me too. I mean,
I'm the same way, Marcus. I'm like, I'm a 52-year-old guy.
Yeah, what are we doing here, guys?
Right. It's like, how does this even make any sense? I don't know.
God bless YouTube.
Yeah, the community is really what keeps you here.
Absolutely.
Because you start talking, and like Marcus said, he doesn't talk to anyone about comics in his life. I have one or two I can. But for the most part, nobody cares. Nobody gives a shit. And it's funny because everybody has a hobby, and there's something I'm making a video on soon. But hobbies are something you do for fun in your personal spare time, and everybody will tell you about their hobby. Unless it's comics, and then it's kind of shunned for some reason, right? Like it's okay. It's okay to be in the gardens. It's it's whatever.
Yeah, there's something a little weird about stamps. Comic books is a little weirder though. Like stamps don't take up entire rooms. Your stamp collection doesn't take up a room in the house.
But plants.
There is a hoarder aspect to comic books that makes it a little.
Oh, sure. Sure. There's a little hoarder in me, a little OCD in me that, like things in a certain way. I like I don't want to let go of this because I like that. And, I think I'll keep it another 100 years.
The corny dude, Willie? No, not corny.
No.
Come on, bro. No,
you're the cool dude. You're the cool dude, Willie. You're not the corny dude. Those guys are corny.
And Johnny, what's this? And Johnny Quest by the Great DC over there. Actually,
yeah. I forgot about Johnny Quest. Oh my God! Thank you. I love Johnny Quest. I forgot. I was thinking so much about Astral Boy. I forgot about that theme. And oh my God!
Right?
Oh my God!
That theme
as a kid. Oh my God, it's coming on, man. It's coming on. This big
you gotta get up and run around the living room and sit down and watch it.
It was in prime time, like a real TV show. Like when it first came out, it was like it used to like the Flintstones. It would come on like at I think 6 p.m., 7 p.m. in the evening. So it was like an adult TV show time. I was like, wow, this must be cool.
Oh, Johnny Quest was great.
Yep. I can't understand why there's not been a Johnny Quest movie, a live action Johnny Quest movie, just laying right there to be made. All the trash that they made, up to now, like, why has it not been a Johnny Quest movie?
And you talk about great characters in a cartoon.
Yep.
Johnny and Haji, the two dads, and just
Grace Bannon.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, the great
Jade.
The great comic names too, right?
Dr. Zen. Yes.
Well, I even love is that old cheesy movie from the 80s, the Doc Savage Man of Steel.
Oh my God.
Man of Bronze, the Man of Bronze movie. And it was horrible. It was like a TV movie quality.
Was that
And
Dolph Lundgren in there, or was it somebody else?
No, it was someone else. I can't remember his name right now, but I distinctly remember the Vapor Snakes too, and it was great fun. And Doc Savage, there's a lot of great old properties that I'd love to see them bring back and do something with. Like Doc Savage, you could do something great with, or Miss Fury, you could do something great with.
Yep.
But we'll keep going with that though. If there's an old property that you could see revived and made, what would it be?
Ooh. Like, how old? You talking like way back in the day old, or just a few years old, or because
Gary's not one of us. Gary has hair.
I just cut it all. That's all. I could grow it down to my feet if I wanted to. I'm an imposter.
I wish I could.
No need to brag, Gary. Calm down.
Yes.
Growing hair is not a contest.
There's no hair on my head going to come down to my knees.
Growing hair is not a contest, guys.
Not when you don't have it.
I would definitely lose if it was.
That's all right. You get it in personality, Marcus.
Thank you. I'll take it.
Anyway,
that's such a good. I would already burn the Johnny Quest thing. I was thinking that would be one that's prime for making into a property.
I agree. You could go a lot of different directions.
Yes.
You could make it PG-13, or you could keep it a little more kid-friendly. It could work either way.
Yeah. I mean, that's God. There's so many possibilities with that show. Space Ghost, I guess, is one. It might be a little bit. It might not age as well as Johnny Quest. Yeah, exactly. He cries out,
I know that was one. I know that one.
Yeah, and God, this Thundar the Barbarian.
Yes, thank you, Jim. Thank you. I could not remember. I was going to Google
it. Who also played Tarzan, I think. Yeah, nice. Yes, where did they come up with that? Yeah. Yeah, so that's
Willie saying Clutch Cargo or Land
Clutch
of the
Cargo. Oh my God, Willie, you're definitely my brother from another mother, man. Clutch Cargo. Oh my God, just the mouth move. Jeez, Clutch, we should just go right now and do that. It's like spinner and paddle foot. They would they'd walk like this. That's
it's so funny because we remember these things with such love. And then you see a lot of those things, like you were saying, Space Ghost, Hercules. A lot of them didn't even last over a season.
They didn't.
But they're so well remembered. You're like, what happened? Why? Why only a season?
Yeah. And you look back and say, oh yeah, it wasn't that great, was it? But we had such love for it, though.
Oh, I have my Thundar the Barbarian DVD. I have the Dungeons and Dragons cartoon one series here because I love that. But
who is this guy? I think Art Baldassar. I think he may be in this band called who draws the Tiny Titans for DC. I think he may be in this band called Ookla the Mock. Because of actual band.
Oh my gosh!
And so it's so many possibilities. Man, I used to be Lords of Light, and
right.
One of his catchphrases, away from me, scum dweller.
Defenders of the Earth was fun too. That one actually went on a while. You had a great old property. Defenders of the Earth. You had Flash Gordon. You had Mandrake the Magician. You had the Phantom. You had what's the other guy's name? I'm blanking on it now. I had the comics here too, because
it sounds like a King Features property. Was that a King Features? I think Mandrake and Phantom were King Features characters. Yeah,
and they had and they all had their kids. So and their kids were part, and it was really good. And they did it without it being cheesy, and a really fun cartoon. Some cartoon staples with Ming just getting out of trouble every time because Ming the Merciless was their main villain.
Yeah,
and a lot of good old stuff.
Yeah. Oh God, man. I could watch. Even this day, I still watch good old fashioned stuff like that. But one
Love.
of the newer things that I like, which is really based on all the stuff that we love, and it's like an homage to it, is the Venture Brothers, and that's a little bit newer. It's like from the
Oh yeah.
90s, I want to say. And I think the Venture Brothers, I always think like, if I could ever make anything as good as the Venture Brothers, I'm set. I mean, I thought that was just like the most loving tribute to the stuff that we love that I've ever seen is the Venture Brothers, and it's
I haven't heard of that one. That
oh
looks
my
cool,
God, you
though.
gotta look it up, man. It's like about 5 or 6
Yeah, that
seasons.
was yeah, that was
I think it's an
Cartoon
adult.
Network.
Yeah,
Cartoon
Network.
Swim, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
You
Cartoon
can
Network.
watch it on.
Adult
You can
Swim,
watch it
something
on
like that,
Hulu.
Yeah.
Lothar,
check it
that
out.
was the guy's name. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
It was
Because
bugging me.
the Venture Brothers are kind of like kind of like a tongue-in-cheek satire of Johnny Quest, and they even have like a character on there that they call Johnny, who wears like the black turtleneck, and he's like this aging child star, and it's hilarious. It's just
Mike
it's
Tyson
like a
had that.
love letter to all the stuff we loved back then.
And I remember
Oh,
too,
wow.
Yeah.
The Venture Brothers has some big names voicing it. I'm looking at it. There's some hitters.
Oh, yes.
Aziz Ansari, Jeffrey Wright from
Yep.
Westworld is on
Yeah.
it. Tim Meadows, Kate McKinnon. I gotta check this out.
Hong Kong food. That makes me think of
Reggie Watts. What?
Yeah. I mean, this is like that to me is like the epitome of just a great animated cartoon. Never been a comic book, but it's been a great animated show.
I'm gonna watch this one. That looks interesting, actually.
Yeah, you should. I'm telling you, I recommend the Venture Brothers to everybody who wants a good laugh, especially folks of our age who
It has Bill Hader. Like, it has a bunch of great people, man.
Yeah, exactly, Willie. This is Johnny Quest for adults. Yes, we get the joke. We get the joke because
Right.
it parodies the stuff without being mean to it. It's like it plays tribute to all that good stuff.
Right, it's a love letter in parody form.
Yes.
Well, and that's when parody's best, is when another form that's really hard to pull off is parody and do it correctly.
Mm-hmm.
Later, Trev. Thanks for hanging out, Trev. Always appreciate seeing you.
But wow,
Go Chiefs! Go Chiefs!
Go Chiefs! Go Bears! Who said
that? Do you watch all the TV shows and movies that come out with the heroes now too? Are you into that aspect of it as well?
He does, but it takes him forever to watch.
In fact, only because of COVID precautions, but yeah, but I do absolutely love all the. I don't read all the Marvel books anymore, but I watch every Marvel show. I go to every movie whenever I get a chance, even DC movies. The hardcore DC fans, they hate the DC movies so much, but I enjoy them. I
go
watch
see
them all
too. I'll go if it's a hero movie, I'll be there.
Yeah,
I haven't really watched. I've kind of not watched the DC movies, man.
He's spoiled. He's just as him to all the good Marvel movies,
Yeah, there's things as your dad you're still gonna have to teach him about. That kind of negativity you're gonna have to steer him away from. Appreciate what we didn't have as kids, right?
Yeah, that's right, Gary. Just the fact that this is now a thing. I would imagine like, oh, it should be nice if there was ever a Spider-Man movie.
Yeah.
Right?
And now there's like Spider-Man movies up the yin yang, and anything you can imagine could be a movie.
We've really lost track of that. Lorenzo and I have talked about this a lot. I don't know, Gary and I have actually talked about this too, but we watched stuff in the 80s and it was completely trash, but we loved it because we were just so happy that comic books were in the mainstream. And now you have comic books not comic books themselves, but comic book content kind of running the mainstream in terms of movie theaters now. I mean, Marvel movies are the biggest movies there are, and we're just so highly critical of them. We hate everything about it, but it's like, when I was a kid, this is the dream, right? This is like, this is
instead
heaven.
of getting one every 10, 15 years, now we get 10, 15 a year.
Yeah. It's and a lot of people complain about that, but I love it, man. I enjoy it
too, man.
Same here. Oh, and the one that just ended for Marvel, Miss Marvel, Everyone was hating on that before it came out. I didn't know what to expect from it. My gosh, I was in love with that show every
I enjoyed
single episode.
I
I
enjoyed
love the family. I love the whole dynamic. Every single episode, it completely charmed me. I'm just sitting there with a smile, nice and big, just
I
sitting in front
know.
of that TV, enjoying spending the time with the characters. And then when the episode's over, I'm like, oh, a week.
Oh, I know.
Yeah.
I know.
It was
I've
a
only
good
seen
show.
2 episodes so far, but I love the 2 that
I'm
my wife
glad
and
I
I
didn't
watched.
spoil anything.
I
Yeah.
could get how I enjoyed Miss Marvel, but I could get how someone could not like it. There is that sort of after school special kind of aspect to it that might turn people off, but I really enjoyed it.
It's bringing the
thought it was
kids
fun.
in though. You need to bring the kids
Yeah.
into this
Well, that-
world, you know.
That's
I
the
did
I
a
think that's
couple weeks ago, one shot.
That's
Mhm.
one of the problems in comic book community is that we think everything has to be for us, right? It can't
Right.
be for the kids, it can't be for women, it can't be for other people. It has to be for us. And we lose our shit. We lose our shit if it's not for us.
See,
Yeah.
and I'm the old school like Lorenzo. When I'm in the theater and I'm watching it, and other people can be hating it, like Doctor Strange. The last Doctor Strange got a lot of hate. Man, did I love that movie! I was just in the theater.
What about
and
Thor? What about Thor?
The latest Thor,
Thor-
I haven't seen that one yet, but
Thor's
kind of
probably
rag
one
on
of the few that let me down. At least that first half, because it was too many jokes, not enough Thor being a god.
A lot of people hate what they've done to Thor, and I appreciate and respect it because they really have made Thor a joke in these movies. But I've enjoyed funny Thor. I've enjoyed the humor. But the problem with this new one is that it tried to be really, really funny, and it was really, really not funny.
When
And
you
that was
try
the
too
biggest
hard, it
problem.
doesn't work.
And the parts that were actually telling a story in it were actually good parts. It just wasn't enough of those parts in the movie.
Mhm.
Yeah. There was too
Okay.
much. There was too much not funny, man. Too much.
Did Tika Watati direct that? Is that
Taika
am I
Waititi?
right on? Okay.
Yeah, Waititi.
You would think
Yeah,
he'd
he
do
did.
better than that. Maybe the script was just not the script writers were trying to be too funny and too goofy. I'm not sure, but
I think
Oh, go
I
ahead,
think it got
Marcus.
dumbed down. I was just going to say I think that it got dumbed down a bit to appeal to a wider audience, to appeal to a lower common denominator, which someone might make the argument about all the Thor movies. But I just think that it was trying to appeal to a wider audience, and when you try to do that, you kind of dumb things down to do it.
That first Thor will still be my favorite because he was a god learning, and I like the Dark World where a lot of people didn't like it. I really enjoyed it.
It was all right. I didn't hate it like people did. Yeah, the only movie I hated was Iron Man 3.
Really, I didn't even hate that one. So it was kind of
I
meh,
hate it.
but I'm like, it was all right.
I hated that movie.
Hated it.
But I hated that movie. But Shang-Chi, if you watch Shang-Chi, it kind of pulls back from Iron Man 3, and it has one of the characters from Iron Man 3. And actually, it made Iron Man 3 a little better in retrospect. Shang-Chi did. I thought
it was a lot better than I thought it was going to be. Shang-Chi was, yeah.
That scaffolding fight was so good.
Oh,
it was
when
fun.
they're outside the building.
Yeah, that was a really good one.
Yeah, I enjoyed that too. The bus fight was great.
Oh my god, yeah.
Bus fight was.
He homages Jackie Chan a little bit in some of those fights. It's like
definitely
as far as action and comedy combo, yeah.
And
especially in the bus fight.
Complaining about Awkwafina, and I thought she was incredible in it.
I loved Awkwafina. I'm a huge Awkwafina fan. Yeah,
a lot of people. She was good in Jumanji too, as well. She had me laughing so hard. I'm like, she played Danny DeVito so well.
Oh my god,
I love Awkwafina. I'd throw my life away for Awkwafina.
Have you guys seen the Sandman series yet on Netflix?
I have
not started. For me.
Yeah.
I've seen the first episode. I was so excited. I just couldn't wait. I had to watch one episode, and the first episode so far is very good. So
rave reviews
that so far.
Yeah, rave reviews on that one.
Yeah.
Looking forward to it.
I have to finish the new live action Resident Evil first. So I finished that. Now I can move on to this.
Yeah.
And people hated that, and I loved it. I thought it was really good, the Resident Evil show.
What network is that on?
It was a Netflix original.
Yeah.
Oh, really? Okay.
8 episodes. Oh, it's good, man. It's the central story is about this mom trying to get back to her husband and her kid and her ties to Umbrella from when she was a kid. and I can't remember the main actor's name that played her dad, but he always plays like this great half villain, half not, drenched in mystery type character.
Yeah.
And every time he turns up, he's a great character actor. But
Is it Lance Reddick?
I can't remember.
Is he the black guy and he was in The Wire?
Yes, the dad.
Oh, okay.
Was he in The Wire? Lance Reddick, yeah.
I did not see The Wire. He was in he's been in a bunch of stuff I've watched though. He is absolutely fantastic.
Okay.
The Wire. Okay. You should watch The Wire. It's the greatest.
Oh, he was the captain on The Wire then, right? I think.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
Captain Daniels, I think.
I think so. Yeah.
Well, he's one of those actors that has presence. As soon as he shows up, you're paying more attention on. You're paying more attention to the screen. Like, oh, him. All right.
He has that factor. He has that.
Yeah, he's got it.
Yeah.
But all right. I know we're running a little long. We'll do a couple more questions and we'll start the wrap up.
Fun.
I want to talk about one of the other videos you had on your other YouTube channel, Alternative City. And it was your drawing of the character Twig, which was fantastic.
Oh, thank you.
I missed this. What?
You're a bad son.
I'm terrible.
Back to timeout.
He's a busy man. He's everywhere. He's on everybody's show,
Right?
Yeah.
But your drawing of Twig was great. What inspired you to draw Twig? Why that character? Do you connect to that story that he's telling there?
I do kind of connect to that story. I mean, Twig is he's like a little puppy almost. How can you not love Twig? So I just thought, like, I'm only 2 issues deep in the story right now, but I like Scotty Young's the way he tells a story. Who knew he'd also be a good writer? He's not
Strange Academy is good by him.
Yeah, he's one of the favorites of mine now.
Yeah. So I first saw it, like, this is a very cute little character. He's like a little pet you might want to own or something like that. So I was getting in trying to learn to practice drawing Twig because I'm gonna do a giveaway eventually of a cover of a blank cover I want to do, and I was just practicing the character so I can don't mess up the one of a kind cover that I bought, the giveaway.
Right.
So yeah, I mean, and then he's such a cute little, little character. I just like, let's do a Twig. I'm gonna do a Twig and maybe I think an animal castle giveaway. It'll be those 2 books I'm gonna eventually on my channel give them away with my my original art on them.
Dude, I love this video. If you're gonna start dropping videos on this channel, man,
I know, right? I've been sitting idle for a year.
Are you not subbed up, Marcus? Because I mean,
no, I am subbed. I just didn't see that.
I have like 5 subscribers. So
he never drops videos on this channel, so I just I don't look for it. But definitely check this one out. I've been neglecting that
channel so much. I need to put more. My ideal world, I put out a video each week on that drawing channel as well as my comic collector content. But I'm working up to that.
It's really cool to actually see you draw. I don't get to see you draw much anymore. So it's really cool to see.
Me either, unfortunately. Yeah, I gotta find more time for it, man.
And it's great.
Sometimes you hit these these walls, I guess, as artists. You just have a dry spell. Sometimes, with me, sometimes it will last years. But then you pick it up, you pick up the pencil again, and he's like, "Why did I ever stop? Why did I?" I guess the inspiration has gone away for a while, and it comes back. And you're just that whole other world
connection, huh?
Yeah.
I need to buy a sketch cover from you here very soon. Definitely. And I want you to color it too. It's gonna be awesome.
Yeah, I think Marcus, it's Circumstances on IG as well, isn't it?
Yeah, Circumstances. Definitely check me out on IG. I'm coming with the memes. I try to be funny. Definitely check me out, man.
He's very active on Instagram, unlike me.
You're gonna have to teach me how you make those so elaborate. I look at your stuff. I'm like, wow, okay.
Oh, the memes are super simple, man. There's no elaborate. You just grab a video, put some words on it, and you're done, man. The hard part is coming up with the captions, and being funny. That's the hard part.
You're tech, I tell you. I wish I was as tech savvy as my son. He's very good at it.
Yeah, not me, Lorenzo. I sit there and the videos I make now, I'm just glad I can be at that mediocre level as compared to when I first started. And, I just have the phone going and I'm just talking flat into the camera. And at least
Oh, hey.
now I can put images in and this, that, and the other thing. And,
Oh yeah, I can do so many more things.
You're doing great now, Gary. Man, I
love
love that intro. Like, oh, okay. I've never seen from this side before. That's very cool.
There's
I didn't make that.
You didn't make that?
Any of my intros I haven't made. The only thing I made was out of an app was the outro, which you'll see tonight. But that was already a pre-made video. I just put my brand in it. Most of the stuff I have on my channel, someone else put together for me. Mostly
E-Man.
Jason. No, E-Man did the 1011 intro.
Oh, okay.
I gotta get him for more. But Jason made the other ones.
Southern Comic Geek?
No. Jason, my buddy Jason. He used to be a usual suspect.
Oh, okay.
Why am I blanking on his YouTube channel now? It's gonna bug me.
Some friends you are. Talk about me being a son. What about you, buddy?
Slot it up, 503. There we go. I know, right? Hey, I mean, you had that video you didn't even know he dropped. I'm just saying.
It hurts. It hurts.
I mean, that's parental neglect right there.
I'm sorry.
Senior abuse.
Man.
Right? Next thing you know, we're going to find Lorenzo walking around outside lost, and Marcus is going to be inside playing games. I was with my kid a minute ago.
Shout out to Janet in the chat. I don't know if you're still in the chat, Janet, but shout out. Good to see you in here as always.
My better half.
The lovely Mrs. Lorenzo Ross. Yes. Always good to see her.
Oh, did I say hi to her? Or?
She was in the beginning.
Readings. Okay.
Yeah.
Is it readings or readings?
Readings.
Okay. Because it can be pronounced either way. I just want to make sure I'm being responsible and pronouncing it correct.
Yes.
There she is. Take good care of our Lorenzo, Janet.
You have to, Janet, because Marcus is neglectful. We all know that. He gets distracted by shiny things.
It's true. In comic books, it's true.
No. So let's give the 2-minute pitch on why the good people watching should go buy Life in the Big City tonight and invest in this book. What is it gonna hook them on, and some of the other merchandise that you have available? Because we want to get you some more people looking at your stuff. The art's fantastic, but why are they going to connect with these characters?
Well, I feel like Life in the Big City, the character Marcus is named after my son here, but actually represents me. And
it's what I just want to point out. It's not really named after me. I just want to point that out.
Well, I think I probably had a premonition that someday I would have a son named Marcus. So I would name this character Marcus. But he represents me. And he represents everyone who's ever lived a life where you just you work your job, you have a family, you have dreams, and someday you want to realize those dreams. And sometimes things don't go well, sometimes they do, and that's just life in the big city or wherever you happen to live. And I think that's a relatable character of Marcus, and some of the peripheral characters in the book. His sister. Well, I don't talk about as much in this issue here, but she's in some of the older strips. And his best friend Quentin, which is actually named after a guy I used to know named Quentin. He was very much like that, and so hope he doesn't sue me. But and Life in the Big City was definitely that. And I have other my Ninja Bunny Assassin, which the shirt that Marcus is wearing is a symbol of is based on that symbol.
Love this shirt.
Yeah, the Ninja Bunny Assassin is just like, it started off as just this free form, just cartoon violence strip, and it's evolved in this thing where the ninja has his sensei, he has his student, and he goes on these adventures. And I've done 2 books on that so far, and have Complicated Hair, which is this one. happen to have a copy of it right here, which is a story of my life as a retail employee. I did 2 of these. For years, I worked in retail in art stores across the city, and I've met a lot of people in there. And that book is more about, I'm in it, but it's not really about me. You know, it's about the people that I met and our customers and life of working retail. And Complicated Hair is my first published comic book that I self-published. So Life in the Big City was the first comic strip, and Complicated Hair was the first comic book that I published. So those are like a couple of big ones for me. I'm gonna have to do a reprint or another printing, I should say, of Awesome 5, which is of my comic, superhero comic book. Yeah, and it's kind of based on kind of the Teen Titans and kind of the Fantastic Four, and it's characters I created when I was in 6th grade when we were raiding the cabinet and getting typing paper, and we were making those little, one of a kind books we pass around.
The inspiration never leaves.
Yeah, it never. That's why Buzzsaw Boy is still a thing. That's why he's just a funny looking, 3-dimensional head, kind of like the kid from Family Guy who can't turn sideways because his head is like like a little football. Stewie. He's like Stewie. Whichever way he turns, his head is still facing the same way. But that's because I created him when I was in 6th grade. So there he remains. So all those characters are pretty much, except for the Ninja Bunny. I created them a long time ago, and the Slice of Life in the Big City, and Complicated Hair are just everymen who I represent characters in there of which so many of us are. And I think that those to me are the most interesting comics right now. I mean, the superhero stuff is fun too. I mean, I love my fantasy and stuff like that, but I think people like to hear about what other folks go through, and yeah, that happened to me too. That's crazy. That customer came in and said this, and I can't believe that happened. And so much of the stuff in especially in Complicated Hair is true life events.
Yeah, just relatable.
Yes. And that's what inspires me to do that and to make those comic books. And I also do this thing called I don't have any on me right now, but I do these things called CBOs. I call them comic book originals, which are pins and buttons. They're like 2 1/4 inches. And I punch out. I have a video on my. I need to put more of those videos up on my store where I show where I punch out the images from comic books, and I make these into pocket mirrors and buttons, and used to be magnets and stuff like that. So they're not like photocopied or Xeroxed from comic books, which is illegal. I actually have to kill a comic book page to make one of these things. That's why I charge a little bit more than you would normally charge for a button or a pin, because those are one of a kind. I may have multiple copies of that book, but every time I make one of those buttons or pins, I cut a page out of a comic book and just make it into a little tchotchke that you can keep indefinitely. So I don't think it's any kind of a copyright infringement, because there's nothing that says you can't cut a piece out of a comic book and use it again. They don't reproduce it, which I don't. But I don't think I'm hey Beckerman, I don't think I'm violating anyone's copyright laws by doing that. And they're kind of I used to tell them that when I was doing the comic book show circuit in the Midwest, those things would just fly. They would pay my table fee. So it's like,
you already got Jerry wanting a Batman pin.
You got to order here. Batman 1, no big deal.
Put some up just for you, Jerry. I got to put some more up. I got a lot of Batman comics.
I made it easy. Like I said, his link to his store is in the description below. All of Lorenzo's links, because I just didn't invite Lorenzo on. I was deep diving, looking into all his stuff. And now I know more than his son Marcus does about him.
Oh,
you're a great interviewer, Gary. I could never compete.
I'm so honored that you would even have me on, Gary.
Oh, please, the honor isn't yours. The honor is mine, man. I'm so happy you came on the channel. It's so much fun to actually, because part of the joy of doing this, Lorenzo, is you see all these people on their channels and this isn't big Hollywood. We get to meet each other. We get to talk. I can reach out. You know, like I had Lady Fantastic last week on twice, and I had never met her before. Now we've talked like a few times on Instagram, and she's going to come on and co-host here and there as well. We had, you know, I mean, Marcus and I met. What how do we meet from you coming on my show, Marcus?
We met because you were like one of my early watchers of my channel, because you are a grow together sort of fellow, and you were one of the guys that came in and started commenting on my videos, and that's when I started coming over to your channel and checking out what you had going on. And then we really started hooking up when you invited me on The Usual Suspects, which was a lot of fun. Wow, what Lorenzo's doing right now, actually.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Marcus was on the other show too, the 1011.
I've been on the 1011. I've been on a lot of Gary B shows.
I caught you on the 1011. Yeah, it was awesome.
Well, yeah, that's a fun show. It's a little something different, and we're going to get you on it as well. You'll have to read your books.
Oh,
I'll be interested to see what books he comes up with. That'll be fun.
Oh,
well, if you're not in timeout that night, I'll let you come co-host again.
And shout out, if you watch my episodes, you will see my first books were all of Lorenzo's books, because I bought all of his comic books. So check that out if you got time.
And I pick on Marcus. It's my honor to have him on my channel, not the other way around. but I pick on him. But oh no, I'm not the ambassador. I'm just part of the community. But thank you very much, Shop.
Yeah. Mr. Grow Together.
Yeah. One to get back a little bit. So to your shop, because I do want to try to push some of your merchandise out there so people can support what you do as well. You have the t-shirts. You have the comic books. Do you have any plans for more comics on the website coming out? Any follow-ups to Life in the Big City or Complicated Hair? Any more shirts or Austin 5?
Yeah, Awesome 5. Yeah, I need to do another print run of that #1 of Awesome 5. But yes, I do plan in the near future to. I left Ninja Bunny Assassin #2 at the end and kind of a cliffhanger, so I need to. That's probably the first thing I get back to is Ninja Bunny Assassin #3. I'll be doing that. Maybe I might do it in installments. Maybe I'll just put it up on the drawing channel bit by bit as I'm making it, so people can see the process, and then that would be I think a pretty cool thing I can share with everybody. Complicated Hair is on hiatus right now, but I'll come up with some more ideas of the stuff that happened. I should say memories of stuff that happened to me as happened to my co-workers in those days. So that'll be more material for that. Yeah, I mean, I think everything. I just gotta find. I gotta ratchet more time for the drawing and less time for the collecting, and be able to do both of them at the same time. But it's gonna happen.
It's a hard balance.
You got you drop 3 videos a week on your channel, so you stay pretty busy.
Yeah. Plus, I don't know if you've heard, Gary, that we also run a shelter here where we Janet and I have like 5 animals that we we take care of. 3 beagles and 2 cats that keep us pretty busy too.
I was gonna say, animals are a big task.
Oh yes.
It's constant attention and constant upkeep.
Oh my God, yes.
Well, so guys, please go check out the links below. Buy some of his merchandise. He has 13 copies right now available of Life in the Big City, which caught my eye right away. There were 14, but I made sure to buy one. But all that stuff's available on his website, Alternative City Shop, link in the description. Both his YouTube channels links are there, as well as my co-host Marcus. I believe his links are there. If not, I will make sure they get there because Marcus needs subs as well. But
I'm almost to 500. I'm getting close.
Hey, exactly. Getting there. But Marcus, what is coming up for you this week, sir?
Same old, same old. Every Saturday, I drop my new comic book day video where I preview the top 10 books that are coming up for the next week. And I try to show you all the artists, all the writers, all the covers, and show you what they look like and who did what. It takes a lot of time to put together. And I try and bring you the hot music every time. So definitely check that out if you're interested in that. And then just hang out with every Wednesday night with my comic book dad over at Indie Comics and Reviews. We have a great crew that hangs out with us. I have a lot of fun. Beckerman's usually there. Willie Survive. A number of great folks. So I know Wednesday nights are really busy, but if you got any time at 8 o'clock Central Time, definitely come check us out over there.
And your wife is saying, plus most of your animals are seniors now.
Yeah. So that's an added, degree of responsibility there. So yeah.
And guys, coming up on my channel, so of course we have Savage Saturday comic review every Saturday. We're no surprise there. I review a Conan or Red Sonja book. But we also have coming up this Saturday, we have the Chai Comic Girl on the 10/11 that night.
Nice.
And right, yeah. Well,
I think it's Shy for Chicago,
Shy?
right? It's
Shy. I'll get it right one of these days when I sit down and talk with her for sure.
Either way, it sounds cool.
Right?
Yeah.
And then we have Remy Q on the 10/11 next Tuesday.
Ooh, nice.
And then Eddie from the Batcave on In the Hot Seat with the Usual Suspects next Thursday.
I love these names.
Nice.
So, yeah, I can't wait. Can't wait to talk to Eddie. We got a lot coming up. I got 2 months of stuff there. I will be contacting you about the 10/11 though, Lorenzo. We'll get a date set for you. That's usually Tuesday nights.
Okay.
I do special Saturday evening shows of the 10/11 for those who can't do Tuesdays, so I do that as well. And usually right, and I usually reach out to Marcus, Metarog, Roger over there, or Chris the Comic Vet, the host on Saturday nights. They're my 3 Saturday night go-tos. But that's what's coming up.
Happy to do it.
And Lorenzo, what's coming up on your channel, sir?
Oh, it's coming up is tomorrow or today. I just dropped my review video. I usually do it on Thursday, just before, so I was late getting here. I didn't get the review video finished, edited, and up on YouTube. So I just dropped that. I'll be doing an unboxing, a giant unboxing video from mycomicshop.com, which is one of my favorite places to get comics online. Probably this weekend.
Can confirm.
Yeah. And like Marcus said, on Wednesday we'll be doing the hangout. Sometimes I'll have comics, sometimes not. Otherwise, we'll just talk and hang out and talk with the community.
Awesome. The community talk is always fun, and you never know how long it'll go. It could be an hour, it could be 4.5, it could be 8.
I know. I know.
And guys, I want to
pull us off. So they pull the plug on us. We're gonna keep going.
Right?
Yeah.
And I want to thank everyone in the audience that came out tonight to not only support the channel, but came here to support Lorenzo, learn a little bit about him. If you didn't already, please support him by also visiting his website and subbing him on YouTube. And guys, thank you all so much. Lorenzo, I appreciate you coming on. Marcus, you know you're always appreciated, sir. I'm going to have a quick word from my sponsor, and then we're out. So until next time, keep it casual. Attention all, use channel sponsor Rogue Trader at theroguetraderutah.com and my code Keep It Casual for 10% off your comic cleaning and pressing needs. Remember, when submitting your books to be graded, use a trusted professional.